For most of human history, we assumed dogs were simple creatures running on instinct and appetite. Feed them, train them, and they will follow you anywhere. Then neuroscientists put dogs inside fMRI brain scanners, and everything we thought we knew fell apart. The dog brain processes your words and your tone simultaneously, the same way human brains do. They build mental pictures of you that they carry even when you are not there. Dogs do not just love you in some vague, tail-wagging way. They remember you with extraordinary biological precision, and these are the 10 things they never forget. Number 10. The way you treat other dogs. What your dog actually remembers here is something most owners never think about, which is whether you are fair. When you give the other dog in the house a treat and skip them, your dog does not just feel disappointed and move on. They notice, they register it, and it affects how willing they are to cooperate with you going forward. Scientists at the University of Vienna ran a study where dogs were asked to perform a simple paw shake task. When they watched another dog get rewarded while they received nothing, they stopped performing the task earlier and showed clear stress signals. This is called inequity aversion, which simply means dogs have a primitive but very real sense of fairness. When that sense of fairness is repeatedly violated, it quietly erodes the cooperative spirit your dog brings to every interaction with you. Think about the times you have asked your dog to sit, and they just stare at you like you are a stranger. Sometimes it is not about training at all, it is about trust. Over the years, dogs who are consistently treated fairly by their owners develop a fundamentally different relationship with cooperation than those who are not. And while fairness shapes how much your dog is willing to give you, your daily patterns shape something even deeper than that. Number 9. Your daily routines. Your dog does not own a clock, but they know exactly what time it is, and the way they know this is genuinely remarkable. What they actually remember is the sequence of your behaviors, the environmental cues that signal what is coming next, and, incredibly possibly, the concentration of your scent in the air. Alexandra Horowitz, the dog cognition researcher at Barnard College, has proposed that as the hours pass after you leave, your lingering scent gradually fades, and your dog may be tracking the passage of time through that fading smell the way you might track it through a clock on the wall. Swedish researchers confirmed that dogs show measurably stronger greeting behavior when owners return after 2 hours compared to 30 minutes, which tells us dogs genuinely feel the weight of your absence and perceive time passing. When your routine breaks unexpectedly, your dog does not just get confused. They get destabilized because their entire ability to predict the world runs through you. Over the years, dogs with consistent owners develop noticeably calmer nervous systems than dogs whose owners are unpredictable. Your routine is not just your schedule, it is the structure of their emotional world. And while routine gives them stability, nothing gives them comfort, quite the way the next thing does. Number 8. Your scent. Gregory Burns at Emory University placed awake dogs in brain scanners and presented them with the sense of their owner, an unfamiliar human, a familiar dog, an unfamiliar dog, and their own smell. The reward center of the brain, the part that generates feelings of pleasure and safety and love, was activated most powerfully and most specifically to one scent alone: yours. Not the familiar dog, not even their own scent, yours. And the owner was not even present during the scan. Your dog was experiencing the neurological reward of you purely from a memory stored in their brain. With roughly 300 million scent receptors compared to our 6 million, dogs can detect your smell at concentrations so faint that it is like identifying one drop of perfume dissolved in an entire swimming pool. When you leave a worn piece of clothing with a dog who is anxious or boarding away from home, you are handing them the most comforting stimulus their brain is capable of receiving. Over a lifetime together, your scent becomes permanently encoded as the signal for safety itself. While your scent tells them you are near, your voice tells them exactly how you are feeling right now. Number 7. Your voice. Your dog cannot be fooled by warm intonation wrapped around an empty word, and they cannot be soothed by a kind word delivered through tension. They run both signals through their brain simultaneously and cross-check them for authenticity. Attila Andix and his team in Budapest scan dogs' brains while playing praise words in a warm tone, praise words in a flat tone, neutral words in a warm tone, and neutral words in a flat tone. Dogs process word meaning in the left hemisphere and vocal tone in the right hemisphere, which is the exact same pattern seen in human brains. And their reward centers only activated fully when both channels matched as genuine praise. On days when you are anxious but trying to seem normal, your dog already knows. Their brain caught the mismatch before you finish the sentence. Your voice is not just how you communicate with your dog, it is how they calibrate their own emotional state every single day. Then comes your face, which does something even more extraordinary inside their brain. Number 6. Your face. Researchers at the University of Lincoln played a voice to dogs through a speaker while showing them a face on a screen. When the face and voice belonged to different people, dogs stared significantly longer, the classic behavioral sign that an expectation was violated. This reveals something profound. Your dog is not just associating your face with your voice as two separate pieces of information. They are holding an internal mental image of you that they actively expect to encounter when they hear your sound. Brain imaging has also identified a specialized region in the dog's temporal cortex that responds selectively to faces. Your dog even shows a left gaze bias when looking at human faces, a pattern seen in humans and no other animal on Earth, suggesting they evolved specifically to read emotion from your expressions. You live inside their brain, even when you are nowhere near them. Number 5. Your emotional state. Loving your dog sometimes starts with taking care of yourself, because your chronic stress does not stay inside you. It migrates, slowly and biologically, into the creature sleeping at your feet. Separate research has shown that human sweat collected during fear carries distinct chemical signals, and when dogs are exposed to it, their own stress behavior and heart rate changes measurably. They do not just observe your anxiety, they smell it, and it enters their body. But the hardest finding to sit with comes from Linköping University in Sweden, where researchers measured stress hormones in nearly 60 dog owner pairs using hair samples across multiple seasons. The dogs' long-term cortisol levels were synchronized with their owners. Not just similar, synchronized. Over the years, a dog living with a highly anxious owner develops a fundamentally different stress baseline than a dog living with a calm one. While your emotional state shapes their biology over time, the quiet, everyday moments you forget almost instantly are being stored somewhere far more permanent. Number 4. The small moments. Your dog is not just learning commands. They are collecting the texture of life with you. Claudia Fugazza and Adam Miklosi at Utrecht University discovered something that changed how scientists think about dog memory. They trained dogs to imitate human actions, then retrain them to perform a different behavior after watching a demonstration, removing any expectation of recall. When unexpectedly asked to imitate an hour later, the dogs could still accurately reproduce what they had seen. They were not trying to remember. Nobody asked them to. The memory formed anyway, purely by accident. Scientists call this incidental encoding, which means forming a memory without any intention to do so, and it is the defining feature of the same episodic memory system humans use to recall lived experiences. Every calm evening, every absent-minded ear scratch, every time you laughed at something and they were simply in the room, you have forgotten almost all of these moments. They have not. And if quiet moments leave that kind of mark, the memories formed in their most frightening ones last even longer. Number 3. How you showed up when they were scared. The brain encodes memories formed during fear with particular intensity because the amygdala, the emotional memory center, prioritizes threatening experiences and locks them in more deeply than neutral ones. This is why rescue dogs can carry specific fear responses for years, even after finding loving homes. A raised hand, a particular tone, a familiar smell attached to pain. These were burned in during high fear, and they do not simply fade. But this mechanism works in both directions. Every time you sat calmly during a thunderstorm, every time you stayed in the vet room instead of walking away, every time you kept your breathing slow when your dog was shaking, you made a lasting deposit into their emotional memory. Over the years, these accumulated moments of being protected during fear build what researchers call secure attachment. and it determines how confidently your dog can face the world. And while fear memories are among the most durable, what you build through consistency is equally powerful. Number 2. The rules you taught them. What your dog remembers about training is not just the commands, but the emotional reliability of the person behind them. Research using brain scanning showed that dogs encode reward-based learning through the same pathways that process meaningful life experiences. Meaning, consistent training is stored not just as a rule, but as an emotionally significant memory. When rules shift without reason, your dog does not decide you are inconsistent. They decide the world itself is unpredictable, and that raises their baseline anxiety. Dogs with reliable owners develop a calmness that dogs in unpredictable environments simply cannot reach. And all of it, every scent and voice and quiet evening and frightened moment together, flows into the final and most extraordinary thing your dog carries. Number 1. The feeling of simply being yours. Miho Nagasawa at Azabu University published research in Science showing that when dogs and their owners gaze at each other, both species release oxytocin, the bonding hormone that connects mothers to their newborns. That release then drives more eye contact, which releases more oxytocin, a self-reinforcing loop of deepening love that requires no training and no effort. Your dog is not filing away individual memories. They are carrying you as a felt experience, as a rhythm their body has learned to fall into, as a thing that triggers the chemistry of love in their brain, without either of you trying. You are not just a person they live with, you are the emotional center of their entire world, woven into the way their heart beats. And that is not a metaphor, that is exactly what the science says. Which moment from this video hit you hardest? Drop it in the comments below.